5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire. The only thing we have to fear is spirit.
Mile 18.
This is Endurance Nation.
95% of endurance athletes are wasting their time and money trying to solve race day problems with more training. And guess what? You're probably one of them. Here inside Endurance Nation, we've cracked the code on race day performance, and we're on a mission to make ordinary athletes into expert racers. Our revolutionary approach to race execution, the 4 keys, is only part of our ecosystem. Race execution is baked into our entire season trajectory, from homework that our athletes do, to key training sessions, to race day support, to debriefs, and content that actually supports you becoming a smarter and stronger athlete. If you're interested in upping your intellectual game and making sure that you're just as mentally tough as you are physically strong, go to endurancenation.us. You'll find resources on that page and an opportunity to sign up for our newsletter, including free courses that will teach you some of our frameworks and start you on the path to becoming a better athlete. If it's got a finish line, we're ready to help you get there. Find us at endurancenation.us.
5 seconds, athletes. Here we go.
Okay. Time for a little race execution story time here on the podcast this week. That's right. It's not always just darts and charts. Sometimes we get down to the people behind the finish times, stories that bring them together. And this is often an interview portion. I'll interview someone who's racing. If you're looking for one of those course-specific, detailed recaps from a member of Endurance Nation, you can obviously search the archive. More than 1,500 episodes of the podcast to date. Lots of information for you to consume and learn from at your reckless abandon. I'm pretty sure you could travel from Earth, around the moon, and back again and still have podcasts to listen to. I'm just saying. So today's episode, I want to talk about 2 things. First, I just want to celebrate the fact of how incredible it is to be the coach of a group of people who are focused on race execution. Because oftentimes, the person with the fastest time or the biggest improvement gets called out as the star of the day, right? Someone just gets the high fives. And of course, everyone deserves high fives for completing a big race, particularly an Ironman. But when you're part of a team where race execution is the goal, then it's about putting together the best race. So you could have a phenomenal race and go an hour slower than you did last time. Relative to the competition, you did much better, but the clock doesn't reflect an improvement. People at home doing the math won't say you did any better. They'll say, man, it wasn't really a great race, right? And the best way to know whether or not you've executed a great race is sort of that internal true north feeling of going through the day and realizing by the time you hit the finish line that there were no problems left that you hadn't solved or you couldn't. And the best people to recognize someone who's executed well is your teammates, the people who are there. And most times, anywhere from 5 to up to 50 Endurance Nation athletes race at a time on a given course. And that camaraderie, that connection is what not only supports each other on the course, especially those tricky out and back sections that play with your mind, but also gives you an opportunity to kind of gauge your performance, keep you inspired, keep you on track, hold you accountable to that performance that you promised when you did your race. And enough of that. Enough of me waxing poetic about the values of being part of a group of people who value performance. So whether you do a 16:59 Ironman or a 7:59 Ironman, you could fumble your way to a sub-9 Ironman, still have a bad day, and everyone will say you did great. But deep down inside, it wasn't really the way it was. But you know how it was supposed to play out. You know what you intend to do and what you got. And if you didn't do a good job of it, you'll always be the best judge of that situation. But today I want to talk a little bit about one of my athletes. We're going to call her Susan. Names have been changed to protect the incredible. And Susan was training for an Ironman, her first Ironman. A phenomenal athlete, young mother, had a part-time practice working with animals, and was really kind of nervous, like super strong, right? Internally, really strong, committed to being a young mom, who's still running a practice to get the training done, right? Everyone who's listening, you know the story, you know how it goes, right? Early mornings, hard weekends, sacrifices, sacrificing workouts for the family, sometimes sacrificing family time for the workouts, and it's a team effort, right? Everyone in the family is stepping up and becoming part of this potential achievement in the work, right? Um, and Susan did all the training, did as much as she could, from riding and not the best bike and doing her best with the time that she could get, even though she couldn't come close to the 112 miles in 6 hours according to our race rehearsal protocol. She could do the work, she could practice the zones, she could practice the process, right? So, when she'd run with the baby jogger, double baby jogger, pushing, I don't know, between that Holmes contraption and the two kids, probably north of 45 pounds, down a bike path, having to stop for crosswalks, all this stuff. Not exactly a track workout, coming off of an optimal prime, nutrition kickoff with a full night's sleep and rested legs. That doesn't exist here. And for most of us, that doesn't exist either. So race day rolls around. Susan's doing Wisconsin. Wisconsin's one of the courses that forces you to think all the time. And actually, as hard as it is, and it's a hard course, don't get me wrong. I haven't raced it, but I've trained on it. It's a thinking person's race. If you bring the mental game, you can do really well at Wisconsin. Most people just give up. They just say, who on earth decided to put my shifters at the end of my bars all the way out there? That's terrible. Like, I don't want to deal with that. There's no way I can possibly manage all of those things because it's too far away. I don't want to deal with it. Same with the nutrition, same with everything else. And the downhills, the sharp turns, the kickers on the bike, the open course, the stadium part of the run, far away from downtown, all the energy downtown, then nobody's there. It's a ghost town. It's a lot in Wisconsin. Then add in the wind and the weather, the nature of the course with the lollipop style bike. It adds up. It gets tough. And so it's going to be a tough day regardless for Susan. And then the weather comes and the weather's bad. It's cold. Like, it's normally hot in Wisconsin. I would say more often than not hot in September, but it's not hot this year. It's cold and it's wet. And people are not prepared for this kind of weather. Swim, obviously, nobody's really affected on the swim. You're in a wetsuit. That's it. But on the bike, people are biking more slowly. People are struggling with, the basic stuff like nutritional decisions. How am I going to go through the process of fueling myself when the weather's cooler than normal? I'm not sure what I'm going to do. You start to second guess how much fluid you need. Maybe you're just not even thinking about it because you're worried about, coming down you're worried about having like a slip on the white line on the bike and your bike tires. Who knows what it is? So it just becomes harder, right? Visibility is difficult and you're cold. Like when you're wet like that and you're not that warm when you're riding your bike and the wind picks up, all of a sudden you're pretty cold. You're feeling it. It's cold. So things are starting to kind of come apart a little bit on the bike for everyone on the team, and including Susan. It's just tough. Like, these kind of days are the toughest of Ironman races, because it takes you totally out of your element and it's pervasive. Cold weather, wet weather is pervasive. There's not something you can escape. It's not like a cramp that might go away, right? You can say, I would just wish these 65-degree temperatures would just go away. It's not a spell, not a squall. It's the real deal, right? You gotta push through it. And so, Susan, everyone else to get through the bike, etc. She's in a blazing time. I think it was in the low 7s. Swam just over an hour and 20. So we're talking like, between transitions and everything, she's like around 9. Let's say about 9 hours combined, somewhere in there, coming off of the run. And again, remember, Susan really hadn't done this whole run without a jogging stroller, except for some short stuff on the treadmill. And so she gets out there, she follows the protocol for the first 6 miles, starts running, and I could see it in her eyes. Like, I can see she is locked in. Like, this is the Ironman. She doesn't get a do-over. You can't say I might just wait till next time. Like, what the majority of people in the course are saying, better luck next time. There is no next time. This is all the chips on the table have to come off, right? And you can see it in her eyes. Like, it's just, her eyes are just like steely, and like, just to match the cold weather outside, just totally locked in. And she's running, she's in her zones, she's pacing. And you start to notice it in that second half of the run, 2-loop run course. Second half of the run, she comes by me and she's smiling, like straight up smiling. No one else is smiling. I mean, maybe the people with the foil blankets on who finish super fast, those people are smiling, and so are their family, supporters, right? They're like, thank God we're done. We can get out of here. We can get warm, get a hot chocolate or something. No, she's smiling. She is loving it. She is eating it up. She finishes, I want to say she finished in just right around 12 hours, 12:20, 12:15, some neighborhood. We're talking a long time ago, 8 years ago now, 9 years ago. Phenomenal race. And afterwards, I debriefed with as many athletes as I can at the finish line, and was able to debrief with Susan and, asked her about her day. I'm super proud because I can tell when someone's particular race, and they can tell in the moment, right? Like, it's like a gymnast, I imagine, in slow motion because their bodies move so fast, knowing just before they stick the landing that they're going to stick that landing, that everything else has gone right, that this is inevitable. And Susan said something to me that has always stuck with me since then. And I've shared the story many times, so I appreciate you letting me share it with you. She said, you know what, coach? I'll let all those people pass me every single day on the bike path. All I need is one day. All I need is one day like today, and I can pass them all back when it matters the most. That's all I need. And I think, honestly, that inner strength and that experience that she had, the manifestation of her resolve and her commitment to the craft of putting together a great race, means more than the medal. The medal is just a trigger for that memory. But to this day, I still tell people that story who tell me I'm not fast enough, I'm not strong enough, I don't have the time, I can't do it. I'll let them know that there's people like Susan out there, people like Susan on the team who know what it means to put together a race and knows the value, both internal and for your future self, whether you never race again or you pick up a different sport or you go back to work. Understand that you have that confidence in yourself and you learn and see physically the results of putting in the work, learning the process, mastering the process, then putting the process together when it matters the most. That's something no one can take away from you. And that's what we do inside Endurance Nation, right? We give people the protocols, the processes, and the space to learn, to grow, to bring those back, to help one another out. By the time people like Susan hit the race course, they've already done 2 or 3 Ironman-like events in training. Most importantly, they've already written and rewritten a race plan. And it's not the coach writing the race plan for you. Those are my favorites. When you see coaches who say, oh, we'll do your race plan for you. Not so much, right? That's like having someone else like, I'll do the studying for you. You take the test. How do you think it's going to work out? It doesn't work out. It's a proxy. It's not the same. You have to put in the work. If you want to be your best, you have to put in the work. And I'm not talking about 6 a.m. workouts or sub 600 miles or whatever that manifestation is to you. It's really about putting in the work around building a great race and the race execution program. So if you are interested, like Susan, she knew right away that race execution was going to be important to her because she didn't have the speed and the time to train. But if you, like Susan, understand that race day is about putting together a great race, about being able to solve problems efficiently, about being able to race to your potential, regardless of your fitness that you show up in, and you want to have that proud experience, come check out Endurance Nation. We've got a free race execution course. If you go to endurancenation.us, scroll down the page, you'll see a race execution course. You can sign up for that. It's got almost the entire framework laid out for you, so you can see it and experience it and understand. Make a decision before you sign up for the team. Or if you're ready, just bite the bullet. Say, you know what? I've got a big race next year. I'm only 9 months out, 6 months out, and I want to put this together. I want to start practicing these protocols, honing my craft and getting ready. We're ready to. You'll see an apply button at endurancenation.us. Click that, submit that application, and I'm the one who calls you. I'll call you the same day you sign up. We'll talk through this. We'll capture what your vision is for performance, and together we'll work to make it happen. Thanks for tuning in for an episode of Storytime with Coach Patrick from Endurance Nation. Hope you have a fantastic week, and I look forward to seeing you on the
Endurance Nation.
Hey, podcast fans. I know you love the podcast because here you are, you're listening to it and you're still listening to me talk right now. Did you know you can get content just like this in your inbox once a month? We send out a great newsletter. We call it, guess what? The Unfair Advantage. That's right. It's our information to you, something that separates you from the competition. If they're not here, then they don't know. But if you are here, then now you do. Zero excuses. If you go check us out online at endurancenation.us/newsletter, it's your opportunity to enter your email address, sign up for these updates. They come once a month, sometimes twice a month, depending on my race schedule. And it's your chance to get insider information that's going to help you become a better, smarter athlete. Don't miss out on this chance to get ahead of the competition. It doesn't cost you any money, and it's not a ton of work. It's just your email address. That's endurancenation.us/newsletter.
For more information about Endurance Nation, visit us online at endurancenation.us. The provided music is from the Podshow Podsafe Music Network. Check it out at music.podshow.com.